Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of the Emerald Coast. I'm the Reverend Ruth Van Lillian, and my pronouns are she, her. We recognize all the earth as sacred ground, and we welcome each other into this gathering space, including a special welcome to our first-time visitors, both in person and online. We are so glad you found us. As we engage in the practice of celebrating what is worthy and sacred in our lives, I am with you in heart and spirit. As the school year winds down, we find ourselves in a time of completion. Many spring flowers have finished their life cycles. Young animals are fledging and leaving nest and burrow. So, my friends, are we approaching the completion of my time as your minister? We have much to celebrate, even as we anticipate the grief of parting. I hope to see you all on May 19th, when we can engage in the spiritual practice of joyful leave-taking and bless each other on the way. For today, I wish you all refreshment of the spirit and restoration of your deepest human selves.
Alyssa Wynn, your guest service leader this morning. Your announcements are in the order of service. Please take a moment to review them. After the service, we will have a brief time for refreshments and conversation, followed by the maypole. Children and adults who would like to participate are welcome, and it's a really fun time. The prelude prepares us for the service. Marley is going to assist us in lighting the challenge this morning. Each morning, we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and give back. Please stand as you are able in body or spirit to join in the singing of hymn number 63 in the gray hymnal. Oh, 163. My apologies. And now it's time for all ages. The children are welcome to come forward.
Okay, so it's going to stay. Today is about Beltane, and I found a little book called What is Beltane? Which is a good question, because why are we wearing all these flowers in our hair? And why are we doing this strange thing out in the yard later? So this little book is written by someone called Granny Hulda, and I'm pretty sure that's not her real name, but she's the one who wrote the book. So I just call her Granny. What is Beltane? It's the time of the time of the year when the earth energies are at their strongest. Beltane is celebrated midway between spring and summer, at the peak of spring when all life is blooming. And I don't know if you've noticed, but everything has been blooming lately. You might be like crying a little bit. The Oak King is getting strong at Beltane and spreading his lovely pollen all over your garden. Beltane lets us know that summer is almost here. Do you think it is? You think summer is almost here? It's close. The weather changes a lot. It's sometimes rainy and sometimes sunny. Granny Hulda's garden is starting to grow. Everything in nature is growing and buzzing with life. Have you seen a lot of bees? They scare you. They're making honey. Oh. We have to fix that somehow. The Fae folk are active at Beltane. Do you know what the Fae folk are? Fairies. Uh-huh. 3 black coals placed under a butter churn will keep fairies away from the butter. That's only, we'll have to talk about making butter. We've done that. Yeah. Mostly you just go to the grocery store and buy it, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Place flowers on your doorstep to keep the fairies happy. They love the nectar from the flowers, just like bees and hummingbirds do. Fairies also like songs and poems, especially when they are written just for them. Granny Hulda likes to write poems for all of the Fae folk at Beltane. There are many ways to celebrate Beltane. If you have a cow, you can make a flower crown for your cow. Anybody have a cow? No? Goat? A maypole is a common way to celebrate Beltane with friends and family, and that's what we're going to do after the service today. You can also decorate a May bush at Beltane to bring good luck to your home. Leave offerings like coins or special rocks at a holy well or river near your home to create abundance for your family. Celebrate Beltane by noticing the colors and sounds in the world around you. The earth even smells different at Beltane. Taking a walk in nature is a good way to celebrate. Smell the air, look at the trees, listen to the birds, enjoy the sun. Happy Beltane.
You are now invited to briefly share personal events in your life by dropping a pebble into the bowl of water silently or while speaking a few words into the microphone there. So we may support each other in our sorrows and celebrate together in joy. This is a sacred time for us. We leave a space in our service for a time of quiet meditation or prayer. I welcome you to let go of your daily worries and just breathe together as one. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called by 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells in your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day. And as you are patient with our struggles to learn, so shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace that heartens and the freedom beyond fear. Within you we are born, we grow, we live, and die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. Within us you dance forever. After our song of dedication, greeters will take up the offering. Generosity is a spiritual practice. Our fellowship is supported by our pledges and donations. If you are paying your pledge with a check today, please make a note in the memo line. We also have a tradition we call Share the Plate, where we split equally all cash donations and checks not marked as pledges with a local charity. For the month of May, our Share the Plate partner is Youth Village. Youth Village is a 5013 nonprofit organization located in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Their mission is to create a safe place for children in the community by providing various educational and recreational services.
Tell you, when they ask you to volunteer months ahead, you don't get to decide how your voice is feeling on the day. So I am here. The east sun, it cuts my eyes open to the wind and rain. All around the earth breathes deep, I come alive again. I am the green man of the woods, wounded and the broken land. I am the fire in the red stag's eye, the touch of a lover's hand. Lover's hand. Oh, let me speak, lend me your tongue to sing the trees and streams. Sing the dark blood of the hills, the moon on goose's wing. I am the green man of the woods, the wounded and the broken land. I am the fire in the red stag's eye, the touch of a lover's hand. Of a lover's hand. Oh, if you meet me in the fields, don't you be alarmed. I have come to bring you joy, I'll do you no harm. Let us dance beneath the stars, the pale moon in our eyes, and celebrate the mysterious that keeps us all alive, keeps us all alive. The time has come for us to rise from the reeds and the thorn. return now. The spark in every creature's heart.
And to represent today what the Beltane holiday is all about. So Trudy, first I'd like to give a big thank you to her. Miss Trudy has been a absolutely wonderful teacher. Yeah, clap, please. Please, please. Yeah, clap, please. Please, please. My wife Melissa and I have been doing classes with her conservative Christian homes. If my mom could see me learning about Wicca, her head would probably explode. But I have learned a great deal about myself through this experience. I've really expanded my horizons religiously and opened up a lot as a person. And I'm very grateful for those many lessons and many teachings. And I know Trudy has been very impactful and taught many other people a great deal of wonderful things as well. So the information that I was sent on Beltane mostly came from Wikipedia articles and general top of the Google search kind of results. Nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to dig slightly deeper with what I wrote today. So one of the first things that's really important to note about the Beltane holiday is, like any major holiday that we celebrate, Christmas or Easter, for example, they are not representations of the original festivities or religious ceremonies that began those holidays. For example, Christmas is an amalgamation of many different holidays from many different cultures and many different places. What we know as today, with putting up a tree and putting a star on top of the tree, is a holiday that has evolved over many, many, many years. Beltane is very similar. The modern Beltane celebrations of today are completely different from ancient Beltane celebrations. To be perfectly honest, scholars and historians have no clue what an ancient Beltane celebration was even like. The best guess that they have is based literally on one person's 9th century Irish literature, where he briefly mentions a Beltane celebration for about 2 pages. So there's very little info. What we do know is that Beltane was an incredibly significant holiday, that it was primarily focused in Ireland, the Isle of Man, and also in Scotland. However, it's important to note, a Scottish Beltane celebration is completely different from an Irish Beltane celebration, and vice versa. Now, Beltane is a celebration that you find all over the world, as Wicca really has created a resurgence of Beltane celebrations and pagan festivities in general all around the world. But a Beltane celebration, for instance, here in Fort Walton Beach that we'll be having, or excuse me, Valparaiso, or anywhere else in the United States, in Atlanta or in Seattle, will be completely different from each other, and they'll be completely different from Beltane celebrations in Ireland. But with that also in mind, I would like to mention that much of the history of Beltane that I'll be referencing today is based primarily on Celtic literature and Celtic origin. So keep that in mind. Anytime you study history or look into history of any kind, it's important to note that history always has implicit bias based on the people who are crafting it and creating it at that point in time. So please be aware of that as I say that. You may understand Beltane in different ways or know different things about Beltane. Remember that it's a fluid, ever-changing thing. So what I have learned may be slightly different from what you have learned, but that doesn't make any of what we know less valid. It's just a collective knowledge that we all share, if that makes sense. So, the fading light of the setting sun dances playfully off the skin of your kinfolk. The drumming of dancing feet plays harmoniously alongside the crackling of 2 enormous bonfires, stews. This is a time for celebration. This is a time of change. All have gathered to mark the transition from the darkness of winter to the dazzling brilliance of summer. It is during this transition period that it is critical to show our appreciation to the gods, to thank them for their many blessings, and to inspire them to continue their benevolence towards us. May Belenus, the Lord of fire and light, cleanse us with pure fire. May Danu, mother of the gods, look upon our offerings favorably and carry the smoke of these great flames and our hopes onward into eternity. May we walk in the light of a new season and find blessings and bounty aplenty. Merry meet and happy Beltane, everyone. My name is Lex, and today I am honored to briefly share with you some of the history surrounding the pagan holiday of Beltane. Before I begin, I'd like to give a special thank you to Trudy once again. And learning about the customs, traditions, and beliefs of others has expanded my horizons in a truly wonderful way and has helped me to become a kinder and more compassionate person. I'm very grateful that our UU community fosters an environment of openness and learning. I hope some of what I share with you all today can help you all expand your horizons too. Like with most major holidays, Beltane is an amalgamation of many different cultural practices, traditions, and rituals that are constantly evolving. There is no clearly defined origin for Beltane, and the bulk of what historians know about ancient Beltane celebrations comes from brief snippets of 9th century Irish literature discussing the holiday and stories that have been passed down through generations. Today, the history and traditions surrounding Beltane that I will be sharing with you are largely Celtic in origin. Here are some facts scholars and historians have uncovered about Beltane. The name Beltane itself is derived from the name of the Gallic god of fire and light, Belenus. It's thought that the earliest Beltane holidays were worship celebrations of Belenus. Danu in Celtic mythology is the mother of all the gods, and at some point in time, people are unsure exactly when it happened, she was mythologized as the wife of Belenus. Danu and Belenus are the key figures in ancient Beltane celebrations. Beltane was traditionally celebrated as an agricultural holiday, a way of petitioning Danu and Belenus for bountiful harvest during the summer months. It also was a very important fertility ritual and a way for people to reconnect themselves to the earth around them. Fire is essential to Beltane festivities. Fire represents purification, cleansing, and renewal. During Beltane, families would douse the fires in their homes, then relight them with the fire from the Beltane bonfires. The Beltane bonfires were blessed, and their smoke, ashes, and flames were sacred. The earliest writings on Beltane rituals describe practitioners leading heads of cattle around and between large bonfires. People danced around and leapt over the flames, feasted, drank, and adorned themselves in ritualistic garbs. Doors, windows, and even cattle would be adorned in yellow mayflowers, perhaps because mayflowers evoke a sense of fire. Beltane is and has primarily been celebrated in Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. It occurs at the halfway point between the spring equinox and the summer solstice, which typically falls on May 1st. However, Beltane celebrations are typically celebrated between April 30th and May 4th, but May 1st is considered to be the primary holiday date. Beltane is celebrated differently in different places. For example, an Irish Beltane celebration may be completely different from a Scottish celebration. The popularity of Beltane has waxed and waned greatly with time. For many years, the rise of Christendom and the suppression of pagans led to Beltane practitioners celebrating in secret. In our modern age, Wiccans have largely revived Beltane celebrations and integrated new customs and rituals into the festivities. It's important to note that obviously through time things change. That's a pretty obvious point. It's not really that insightful, but this is particularly true of a celebration like Beltane. It's changed greatly from where it once came to what it is today, and it has been heavily influenced because of its having to be in secret for so long, for hundreds of years, with the suppression of Christianity as a major religion in the world. These kind of celebrations, people would literally be killed or imprisoned for celebrating this kind of a holiday. So having the ability to celebrate it openly now is quite a tremendous feat on behalf of humanity. It's a pretty wonderful thing. But because of the celebration being in secret for so long, there still is somewhat of an element to that kind of celebration of it even still to this day. You'll find that Beltane practitioners typically aren't going to meet like at a public park and make it this big display of, hey, today's Beltane. They typically try to keep it pretty low key and keep it off to the side somewhere. There's always this sort of fear that sort of sits within it from generations upon generations of suppression. The influence of Wicca has led modern Beltane celebrations to honor the Lord and the Lady as opposed to Belenus and Danu. Giving a full and accurate description of the Lord and Lady is another speech for another Sunday. We could get into it today, but it would take a great deal of time, and it's something that deserves its own Sunday service. It's not something I can accurately sit here and jot out to you in 30 seconds. However, in a big nutshell, the Lord and the Lady, just like Belenus and Danu, they represent the highest forms of masculine and feminine divine. In its own way, I thought it was kind of unique that in Melissa's stead, we ended up having a representative of masculine and femininity for representing this. It ended up in a weird spiritual way kind of working itself out, which I find very interesting. It's also quite common for pagans of various kinds to honor Nordic or Greek or even other gods during Beltane celebrations. Although the Lord and the Lady in the modern day are the most common deity figures to be honored during Beltane, it is not uncommon for practitioners of Nordic faiths to honor Odin or Loki or other gods that they represent, or for people to honor Zeus or Heracles or any other sort of Greek figure. I've even heard of people honoring Hindu gods and things of that nature during Beltane celebrations. Typically, people are going to primarily focus on gods that are representative of fire, flame, that invoke purification and cleansing and that type of thing. It's even not uncommon for Christians to show up and worship Jesus for Beltane celebrations. Beltane celebrations are very open and fluid in a way that I don't think is quite commonly known. It isn't a hard and fast kind of a thing. There are a lot of traditional elements to it, but it's also very open and always evolving with time. Flower crowns, wicker figures, fire spinning, fire breathing, and the maypole are modern additions to the Beltane holiday. These are not things that we can source to ancient Beltane celebrations. Perhaps people wore laurel wreaths or flowers on their head in ancient times. However, we don't have any full proof that this was the case. The maypole comes directly from the May Day holiday, which is a completely different holiday that in essence has kind of merged some with Beltane. They've kind of come together and they're joined forces. The maypole in general, historians are completely unsure where exactly it comes from. All they know is it's Central Germanic in origin. One day, people started tying ribbons around poles and walking in circles, or even vines around poles and walking in circles, and they really are not sure why. They just know people have been doing it for thousands of years, and people really love doing it on the 1st of May. So that has become interlaced with Beltane, which is really interesting, and that's actually something we'll be experiencing today, which we do every year here, and it's a wonderful celebration. Although Beltane has transitioned away from its agricultural roots, it's still very much a celebration of renewal, change, and the dawn of the summer season. Although we may not be running cattle between bonfires anymore, Beltane still very much is a holiday that we use to invoke blessings, to invoke change, to invoke a sense of cleansing of one's spirit and of oneself, and of community gathering. I would like to say that today, in celebration of Beltane, all of you are cordially invited to participate in the wrapping of the maypole. Typically, we have the children do the bulk of the wrapping because it's a lot of fun for them, but hey, us big kids can participate too. And I just want to say that when it comes to pagan holidays in general, the most important thing to remember is that we're here to gather together as a community. We're here to be with each other, to represent one another, to represent our community as a whole, and to show a united face to the community. I think it's a great show of strength of our community to stand together on a holiday like Beltane. Even a simple act like spending 10 to 15 minutes wrapping a pole and wearing these on our head and having a show of force, more or less, in a much less aggressive way than that sounds, but a show of gentle, genuine force in the community, and really exercising and really showing what a freedom of religion and expression looks like in a free and open society. These kind of holidays are very, very important and are the origin point of so much of what we celebrate culturally and what we know culturally with how we express ourselves traditionally through our holidays and such. And I think that these small celebrations are such a good way of bonding our community together, learning more about each other, and really expressing ourselves in a deeper way. And I know some of you today may be pagan and some of you may not be. To some of you, it might just be all gobbledygook, and I understand. But I do think there's a lot of knowledge to be gained from learning about these kind of things. And from a very practical sense, this helps us get in touch with our ancestors, helps us link us spiritually and otherwise to people who have come before us and the pathways that they have paved for us that allow us to be here today in a building like this, celebrating a holiday such as this. I think there's great importance to ancient custom and tradition, and it's easy to forget about these things in a modern, technologically advanced era and to sort of steamroll ahead like we have everything figured out because we live in an enlightened era and we know everything now. But the more I learn about the past, the more I understand a concept some of you may be very well aware of universal think. That so many of the ideas that we have been ideas that have been with humanity since humanity has been birthed into the cosmos. A lot of these things that we understand are not unique or special to us. And a celebration like Beltane is a wonderful representation of that. As we wrap around the maypole, as we go out today into the giant flaming ball in the sky that is the sun and step out into the summer months, I think it's important to think to ourselves how we can connect to a deeper sense of self, which will connect us to a deeper sense of our ancestry and the places that we come from. When we sit around campfires or bonfires throughout our lives through these summer months, I think it's important to reflect on how we have changed and grown as people, and to really look and appreciate this present moment in the family that we have. And gods and goddesses all aside, a Beltane celebration is truly a representation of community and family. And on a final note, I would like to say, may your summer months be bountiful and blessed. May you harvest the fullness of grand friendships and the richness of each present moment. Like the sacred Beltane fire, may your spirit burn with passion and empathy. May you be fluid and flexible like a dancing flame. And merry part, and may your Beltane be very blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Lex, for filling in for Melissa. You did a wonderful job. Please stand as you are able for our final hymn, Mother Earth, number 1067, and the Teal hymnal, first verse. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please stay seated for the postlude. Please join us in the back for refreshments and conversation, followed by the maypole. Thank you for coming.